Hello everyone, it's Dawn. Here we are again with the final project in this series from Papercraft Society box 34. And today I'm going to send you into the weekend with a pop-up card. And as promised in my last video, I'm going to give you plenty of embroidery to do if that's what you want to do. But if you don't want to do the embroidery, we're going to be using the flowers. But if you don't want to do the embroidery on the flowers, then don't. That's absolutely up to you. Absolutely fine. Whichever way you decide to do it is brilliant. So we're going to do some embroidery just because it's part of the set and because I enjoy doing it. So we're going to do a nice big card today. We're going to do a nice big A5 card. And all this is, it's an A4 card. This is a piece of A4 silver mirror card, which I've folded in half. I didn't even bother to score it. I just folded it in half until the corners met and gave it a good press. And I'm going to slide that to one side. And because we're making a pop-up card, we need a mat for the pop-up element to slide in. And I'm using one of my own, well, not my own, but one that I bought from a local shop. And I'm using pattern paper for this. And this mat measures 5 by 7.5. And this is where I need to look to my measurements because this is where we put our pop-up, where the slider goes in. Now the first piece needs to be 4 inches from the base. Now I'm just going to make sure that I've got those measurements right because I wrote it in. I scribbled it rather than wrote it. So let's have a look. Yep, I did get that right. Wonderful. So that's 4 inches from the top, or from the bottom, so which is roughly halfway up. And from that line, you need another line up here, which measures, I think it says 2.5 inches, but again, I scribbled it rather than wrote it. So let's just have a quick look. Yes, that's 2.5 inches, roughly. Doesn't have to be exact, but roughly. So you don't need any dies for this. I know there are lots of fabulous dies in the set. We didn't get any pop-up dies, but that's all right. You don't need pop-up dies to make a die set. You don't need dies to make a pop-up card. All you need is a ruler, a pair of scissors, and a pencil. So we're not going to cut anything out, but what we are going to do, we're just going to cut along these lines here, which are about 1 inch wide. So I'm just going to put the point of my scissors in like that. And just, this is quite stiff card, it's quite thick. It's about a 300 GSM, or 200, actually I think it's a 240. So it's quite thick. So there we go, that's that bit done. And we will need a slider. Now I know this is far too long, but I always chop it off I always make it too short. So what I tend to do, I made this out of the same paper. This is, originally it was 12, and this is by 1/2 inch, 12 by 1/2 inch. It was 12 by 1, and I've just folded it in half and glued it. And what we're going to do, we need to make sure that this bit is coming up through the front. So what we're going to do, I'm going to turn it over on the back. I have got foam tape on the back. So we're going to try and find that bit there. That bit needs to come down like that. And then I'm just going to turn it over and I'm just going to thread that bit through there. The reason we have foam tape is because it needs to come up higher than the slide part, the pop-up part, otherwise it won't pop up. So we're going to put that there and I'm going to move this over here. We'll come on to our embroidery in a minute, I haven't forgotten. So what we're going to do first, we're going to take the backing tape off of this foam tape and hope the thing comes off in one go. So hopefully it will. Yeah. If you hold it low and pull it down low and don't pull it up too high, it should, she says hopefully, it should come off. So now, which way? That way. Yeah. We have to make sure we get it on the right way round, otherwise it won't pop up. So I'm going to lay that, because we are using foam tape, you don't get a second chance. So you have to get it right the first time. So that will slide up very nicely like that. And once we're done, I'll decide how much we want and then I'll chop it off. So let's put that to one side for a second. You will need a second mat to cover that one. And that mat measures 6 by 2 3/4. And I've used gold mirror card. No reason for that. It's just that I had a scrap piece in my drawer. I didn't want to waste it. It was, as luck would have it, it's just the right size. So I've decided to use it. But don't worry about that because it's going to be covered in a minute. You won't see much of it. And on the back, I've put some foam tape, but this time I've put some at the bottom because that's going to go down the bottom of our card so that the pop-up bit doesn't pop down, it doesn't escape through the bottom. But we'll deal with that in a minute because I'm going to pop that to one side because I have made, here comes the embroidery bit, folks. So I've made loads and loads and loads and loads of flowers. Whether we'll use them all, I'm not sure. But I used the large ones and I used the smaller ones. But the embroidery technique, whether it's the big one or the little one, I did exactly the same technique. So for those who might not be familiar with embroidering, especially embroidering onto card, because it's not the most usual thing in the world to do. And of course we do need a pop-up element, I haven't forgotten that, but we'll sort that one out in a minute. So here's another one I've done. And what we're going to do, we're going to come up, if we can see what we're doing, we're going to come up through that hole there, like that. If I turn that round to the camera, hopefully you can see it. And we're going to go down there. So we're going to work from left to right. And we're going to come up each time back through the central hole at the bottom. And we're going to go down like that. We're going to go through the next one. And we're going to keep on doing that. Go back down through that central hole at the bottom. Go to the next hole. And again, down through the bottom. Go to the next hole. Through there like that, and again through there. This hole at the bottom will get a little bit stiff the more stitches you put in, because obviously you're going to take up the space. But that's all right, you'll get there all right. You've got enough to do this job. So we'll just do this quite quickly. And the hardest bit, the last bit, is because there's not much space. So there you go, there is our petal all nicely embroidered. And I'm going to turn it over, and to finish it off, now I don't know how a true embroiderer finishes off, but I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm just going to slide the needle through the back of my stitches. I'm going to do that once more, and then I'm probably going to commit what is probably the ultimate sin in embroidery. I'm going to pull it into a knot. So, just as well I don't do embroidery for a living, isn't it? I'll be fired. But there you go. Hey ho. It's a means to an end. So I'm going to take that off, and we do need, now somewhere, oh there it is, we do need to do, well you don't have to do that central piece, but we do need to do a centre. So I'm just going to quickly, oh I did do it quickly too, thread the needle with a different colour, and I'm going to tie another knot, so I'm going to break another rule, probably. And all I'm going to do here for this centre, we do need to finish the centres. If you want to just colour the centres with your pens, you can. But as we've got our embroidery bits out, let's embroider them. So I'm just going to do the two opposite holes there. And I'm going to go up through the next one. And I'm going to come down through there. We've got one more hole left. So really, you can go down whichever one you like. And if you want to carry on doing that to fill it in, you can, but I'm going to leave it like that. In the interest of time, I'm going to leave it like that. Oops. And I think I've just undone it again. Oh, well, never mind. What we'll do, because there's not much room, we'll go through the yellow one. It won't show at the front, so don't worry about it. So we're going to just do that like that. We probably won't use this particular one. That was just to show you. So we'll just cut that off and put it to one side. And because we are using thread, we are going to need a glue gun to stick all our flowers on. So I'm going to bring all my flowers in. I've even done a few leaves. Whether I'll use the leaves, I don't know. But I'm going to bring them in anyway. So I don't need my pad anymore, so I'm going to pop that out of the way. So we are going to just pop a bit of glue. I haven't planned this in advance, so I'm not quite sure how it's going to look. But what we do need to try and do is keep it more or less within the confines of this pad, of this mat, because we need it to stay within the size of the card. Now, if you think, as I do, that that's not going to stick, just squeeze a little bit more glue and push down like that. And I'm going to take the yellow one, and this time I'm going to squeeze it. Actually, no, I think I won't. I think I'll carry on with how I have been doing it. Pop it on there like that. We'll try and keep it within the confines of our little mat. And we'll put, this is what takes the time really, deciding where you're going to put your flowers. But that's all right, that's the fun part. So I've got one more big one. And I'm going to just squeeze a bit of glue on there and pop that down like that. Do watch your fingers when you do this. And I don't think I will use the leaves, you know. I think I'm just going to build this mat up with these lovely embroidered flowers. And we'll put a few more on. So if some of the gold shows through, then it really doesn't matter, because gold card is very nice to look at. I'll probably cover most of it anyway. So let's just put one there. Let's fill in the big parts first. I've got some more glue sticks should I need them. Always a good idea, if you're going to use glue gun, make sure you've got some glue sticks on standby. And I think we'll put one more there. We won't be too bothered about it. But because of this bulk, it may not go through, or it may not go into an envelope. So you may need to make a box for this, but that's okay, that's not too difficult. Or even a gift bag. So as we've got a couple of gaps, I might just put a couple of leaves in, you know. So maybe I'll put one there. Just squeeze it in there. And we'll put one there. And to balance it up a little bit, I think we will put probably one, I think. Maybe two, we'll see. I've only made two more, so I can't put any more than two. We'll put a leaf on that side. And maybe see if we can squeeze one in there. That really will be the last one. Pure indulgence, this is because it's good fun. So let's just squeeze that in there. And that will give us a nice border for our pop-up element. So I'm just going to move this out the way so it doesn't fall on the floor. Now what we need to do, actually we could use the hot glue for this because then it will stick instantly. We need a pop-up element. And what I use for this, I'm just going to slide that up a bit. I used the smaller butterfly die, which is actually over there on my craft station. And it does cut out just a skeleton butterfly, and I just put some patterned paper behind it. And what we need to do, we need to try and glue it right on the edge here. Don't glue it flat because it won't pop. Just glue on the edge here. So what we're going to do, I think we'll just get away without, we'll get away with not using another glue stick, I think. So all we're going to do a very thin line of glue just along there. And sorry, I'm just making sure that you can still see. And I'm going to stick that down there and just hold it for a second or two because hot glue doesn't take long to dry. And we're good to go. And because that is stuck, I'm just going to lift that up a little bit. And you'll see why in a second. Now, we're nearly there actually. So I'm going to bring that in there like that. And all I'm going to do now is hopefully take this backing tape off reasonably quickly. So we'll just peel it back like that. That'll come off like that. Oh, that bit slightly overlaps, but that doesn't matter. We'll cope. We might even get away with leaving. I'm going to leave that bit, you know. I think it'll be all right. So I'm going to make sure I've got it the right way round for a start. And I have, that's always a good idea. Stick it down like that. And of course this bit now is way too big. So we'll push it down like that. And I think we'll cut it when it comes up. Let's cut it probably to just about maybe fractionally bigger than the card. So I'm going to cut that bit off. Now what happens is when you pull your pop-up tab, up pops the butterfly like that. And I'm being smiled at from the other side, so I must have done good. So he will go down like that, or she will go down like that. and up she comes again. And if you wanted to, you could put one of the butterfly sentiments, for example, birthday wishes and butterfly kisses, or butterflies can't see their wings, or one of the... I never thought of doing that till just this minute. I never thought about that. So we could put a stamped image, a stamped sentiment across there if we wanted to on another mat. But I'm going to leave that up to you to decide. So there we go. Let's just have one more look at our butterfly. Up she comes. And isn't that fun? So there we go. There is our pop-up butterfly card with a bundle of embroidered flowers at the bottom. So I really do hope you've enjoyed that and you have a go yourself, whether you're embroidering or just making flowers. Well, not just making flowers is fun however you do it, whether you're embroidering the flowers or not. I hope you make one of these yourself, and you make these pop-up cards just to show that you don't need die sets. I know they are around, but you don't need them. So, and the good thing about doing that is if you make it yourself, you can decide how big the card is going to be and how big you want your pop-up element is going to be. And despite all this at the front, that will still stand up really well. So there you go. I'll just give you another look. And I'm going to pop that down like that. Up she comes. And there we go. Here is our pop-up butterfly card. So thank you for joining me for this series. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next one when it comes at the end of this month or beginning of next. And I'm sure I'll see you before then. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Have a fabulous time. Have fun, everybody. Take care. And as always, happy crafting. Bye-bye for now.